Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammad Asim. I'm working as DevOps engineer. In this video, I'm going to cover the AWS code pipeline and we are going to deploy our application new version in AWS ECS Fargate automatically and we are going to trigger our application from the Bitbucket. So if you have other repositories like GitHub, GitLab, you can do the same stuff what I'm going to show you, although I'm actually giving you the concept you can how you can trigger the AWS code pipeline from anywhere outside the AWS and process I'm going to show you. For that, what I'm going to do is to navigate to the navigate to the AWS section, and we are going to set up the AWS code pipeline. But before that, what I'm going to do is to make a custom bucket, and in that custom bucket, I'm going to set up few stuff for you guys. So I'm going to create bucket. Let this bucket call Cloud Geeks AWS code pipeline. Okay, so this is our bucket. Just tap on here. Okay, so CloudGeek AWS code pipeline. I'm going to instead of creating, I'm going to click next. For AWS code pipeline versioning is must to enable the versioning. So I'm going to do that. So make sure that you have versioning enabled. And in that, I'm going to, let's say, create one folder with regard to our application. Let's say our application name is AWS Code Pipeline. So in my previous video or part one, I've shown you guys our application, everything with regard to the ECS cluster, Terraform, and automatic deployment of our application. Although our application is running, so if you haven't watched that particular video, go and watch that particular video. So now what I'm going to do is to simply create one folder here that call this AWS code pipeline. So this is my application folder, and I'm going to save one of the artifact in that particular in that particular directory. So with regard to that, I have to show you guys that you have to create one JSON file, and if you navigate to my repository, which I've shown you guys, so what I'm going to do is to simply copy this and I'm going to update this. So as far as the container name is concerned, so we have already deployed this stuff. So the container name is AWS Code Pipeline. So if I navigate to the task definition, let me show you that what we have deployed in the first video. So if I navigate to the Elastic Container Service and I'm going to navigate to the task definition, you will see our container name is the same which we have used, which we are going to use in that particular JSON file. So, okay, so this is the task definition. So this is the container name I'm using, AWS Code Pipeline. So what I'm going to do is to simply, I'm going to update this for you guys as well. So also I'm going to post the changes as well. So this is the container name I'm using. Okay. So this JSON file is updated and the image URL. So image URL is already I've shown you that we are going to pull the image from Docker Hub. Although in my later videos, I'm going to show you how you can do the same stuff with the ECR as well. So what I'm going to do is to call this. Let me instead of writing it, let me navigate to my Docker Hub. and I want to show you that we are using this particular image for our deployment. So simply I'm going to, um, copy that particular stuff. So it is pretty simple. So you can use the copy or whatever. So I'm going to use this. So um, let it copy, and path is blue. It is actually not the path, it is the repository QuickBooks 2018, and slash blue is the image container, and um, we are going to use the latest. So if I put latest here, that would be okay as well. So this is the image URI. So currently this is the one which we are going to, which we are actually using in our deployment. So what if I want to update my application? Let my application update. You can use the version, or you can use the different stuff with regard to the application. Let it call it green. So I have already uploaded the image QuickBooks 2018 slash green. So as far as the deployment of creation of these pretty simple. I mean, you can use Docker file to create your images. So these are the simple images to just to make sure that our deployment is done successfully. So this is the one which I'm looking to deploy. Uh, what I'm going to do is to simply navigate to this section, and I'm updating every stuff right now, so I will be providing you all the stuff. So what I'm going to do is to just remove this image definition, and I'm going to simply make a zip of this particular JSON file. Okay. So this JSON file is available. So what I'm going to do is to simply uh, okay, this is the zip which we are going to use in our S3, and this is going to be part of our deployment, automated deployment. So what I'm going to do is to navigate to that particular repository which I've created for you guys, which is actually in the Bitbucket. Okay, so let me navigate to that. So this is the one which we are going to use, and as far as the privileges uh, to that bucket, I have to update the repository. So let me pause the video, or let me create one user for you guys in front of you. So you should be able to see that what is required. So if I navigate to the AWS section, I'm going to open the IAM section. So navigate to the IAM section. Okay, create one service user and give the only privilege to that particular user with regard to the S3 bucket. So I'm going to create one user, which is going to be the service user. So I'm going to add one user here. Okay, so the username is SVC service S3. Okay, so I'm going to give only programmatic access. So if you create one user, by default it has no permission. So as far as the permission is concerned, I'm going to attach one policy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to simply copy the stuff from here, and I'm going to put it on my desktop. Let it call this SVC service S3. Okay, so open this and put it here, and also I'm going to put the access key ID on top of that. Okay, so these are our credential as far as the access key and secret access key. These are the access and secret access key. So, what, excuse me. What I'm going to do is to update my repository. So in Bitbucket, you have to update your repository. And with regard to the update, let me show you what the update is required as far as the environment variable in the Bitbucket. So guys, what I've done, I have updated this document and it will be available for you guys in my repository as well. So I've not planned every stuff from the start of the video, so I'm doing the stuff as per requirement. So these are the variables required. So what I'm going to do is to simply create this environment variable in my uh, Bitbucket. So if I navigate to my Bitbucket section, okay, so okay, so this is my repository. It is publicly available. So if I navigate to the repository settings, so what I'm going to do as one thing I need to tell you that I've enabled the pipelines, so you make sure that you should enable the pipelines. If you navigate to the settings, you will see that pipelines is enabled. So as far as the repository environment variable, so I'm going to create these environment variable. This is the access key ID. I'm going to put this access key ID here. Simply create the environment variable and put this value here. So it is best to recommend. I should recommend that you should make it secure. So add that, and now it is locked. You see your password, your access key is secured. So also I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it here. So this is our ID, and as far as the region is concerned, this is going to be the US East one. Let me just type US East one. So everything is set up as far as the setting is concerned. Simply add this. So what I'm going to do, if I run the pipeline, it is going to fail. The reason for that, I have to do some more settings. If I navigate back to my repository section, okay, go back. And if I navigate to the source section, I have to update my build spec YAML, and also I have to provide a permission in AWS with regard to this repository. So, as far as the URL is concerned, currently this video is not relevant to the ECR. Later on, I'm going to cover that. So, I have to provide my URL. So, in this video, I'm covering the pulling of image uh, from from my Docker Hub section. So what I'm going to do is to simply update this URL. So this URL is QuickBooks 2018. Okay, and mm, and it is going to pull this image, and the tag is going to be the latest tag I'm looking. So because I have latest tag pushed into that Docker Hub repository, as far as the other settings are concerned, you see this is the container name I'm giving it. The image URI is going to be this one. This is the variable it is going to pick, and it is going to put the latest tag, and it is going to download the AWS CLI, and I have to put my bucket name here as well. So the bucket name, as I shown you, that this is the bucket name. So simply copy this bucket name, copy and put it here. So this is our bucket name, and in that particular bucket, I have created one folder AWS code pipeline. Okay, let me just double check that I have created or not. So if I navigate to uh, let me just drag stuff here so it would be easy. So this is the folder I've created in this bucket. So currently it has nothing. So okay, so that's fine, no issue with that. So we are going to do relevant stuff, trigger our pipeline. So I'm going to simply copy this. So this is the actually directory name. So everything with regard to the excuse me, with regard to the build bucket setting is done. So okay, that's fine. If you do the commit, and the thing is that it is going to definitely fail. So the reason for that, I have to set up the AWS code pipeline as well, and I have to provide the privileges to that particular user to access the S3 bucket. So what we have done actually, we have created this particular user. Okay, so if I back to the navigate back to the this section, if I click it here, I have to provide permission to that particular user. So although I can give the full access, but as I told you in my videos, I've uh, provided you the production ready stuff. So make sure that you should only provide the limited privileges to that particular user. So I'm going to create one policy, and I've already made policy in my GitHub. So if I navigate to the GitHub section, I have section there. I have a repository there with the name AWS, and I'm going to show you that as well. So in that, I've set up the custom repositories were relevant to my AWS, and let me just open it. Okay, so S3 policies, specific bucket policies. So if you click here, so um, okay, let me pause it for you guys. I'll be back in a moment. So what policy we are going to attach with that particular user? I'm going to show you that. So, okay, that is fine. So I'm going to simply copy this policy. This is the policy which we are going to provide to that particular user. So, okay. So if I navigate to the IAM section, create policy, click on create policy. I'm going to simply copy paste this particular policy. Okay, and I'm going to paste it here. So the bucket name, I have to update the bucket name as well. So bucket name is the one which we are going to simply copy paste from our S3 section. So I'm going to copy this and navigate to the IAM section. So this is the one which we are going to use, and also I'm going to provide this policy in the same repository to you guys, so it would be easier for you guys to simply create a one policy if you want to create with the different bucket name as well. So review that, and let it call is Cloud Geeks CA S3 mm, policy. Okay, S3, that's fine. Create a policy. So let me also create a policy as for you guys as well. So it would be easier for you guys. So um, AWS, even you can call this Bitbucket AWS S3 policy. So I'm going to simply paste it here. So that's fine. Save it. So all stuff will be updated for you guys. So this policy is now created. So let it attach to, simply refresh it. So make sure that it should be available for you to attach. So if I navigate to that particular user, let me type the Cloud Geeks here. Okay, so it is successfully created. So simply I'm going to navigate to that user, and I'm going to attach with that particular user. Okay, so add permission, existing, cloud. So I'm going to simply select this particular policy. So no need for review. We just have created this, you know. So I'm providing that particular user permission to access import object to that particular bucket. So that particular user is not able to delete that particular um, S3 repository. So these are the limited privileges I've given to that particular user. So this is part two of our CI/CD process with the AWS Code Pipeline. In third part, I'm going to create the AWS Code Pipeline, and we are going to trigger our application. So if you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe my channel. Have a nice day.